Put your hands up.
So, tool pouches. So we'll start with the pouches themselves. The tool pouches are Ox tools, and they are the Outback range. So these are leather pouches. Not seeing many people use them, but I found them, stumbled on them on the internet, and they suit me really well. The thing I like about them most is the capability to hold a lot of stuff. There's big, deep pockets, lots of pockets for different things, but they're still quite slim. So even though they hold a lot and the pockets will expand quite a lot, they're still very slim and quite tight to your body, quite tight fitting to your body. And I really like that. The bigger pouches and stuff tend to stick out quite a lot, and you catch them on everything. So these are kind of like the happy medium in between, which works really well for me. So tools wise, I've literally just taken this off. I've been doing some stud work. This is what is in my pouch on a daily basis. Obviously it changes, certain little bits and pieces change depending on the job you're doing that day. But this is the day-to-day, what's in my pouches. So yeah, we'll start here. Obviously in the hammer loop, we've got the Kinetic Custom F16 Nighthawk hammer. That's always there, every single time. We've got my trusty old faithful nail bar. That's just an Ox 12-inch nail bar. Did used to have a black grip on it, but obviously that's gone. It's taken a bit of abuse over the years. Had that a long time. Tried out a couple of different ones, but this is the one. This is the best one I've found so far. So I might get a new one. I might go for the 10-inch, just a little bit shorter. This tends to catch my leg a little bit when it's in the nail bar slot there. It tends to catch my leg sometimes, so I may just go for a shorter one. Well, that's it. So we'll start on this side. This would be my right hand pouch, and in here, so the front pocket, I'm just going to get everything out because there's all sorts in here. There tends to be bits, bit holders. My knife, my Stanley knife lives in there, but yeah, so we've got various different PZ bits, bit holders, a T20 bit I think for concrete fixings, another one there, PZ bits. We've got a 10mm socket because I've been putting in coach screws, Stanley knife, and finally this little gadget. So I always have one of these in my pocket, and it's just a centre finder. I think they're about £3 off Amazon. If I can find the link where I bought them, I'll put the link in the description. But these things are that handy. I just have them in my pocket, and if I break it, lose it, it doesn't really matter. You know, the £3, it doesn't break the bank. So I keep one in my pocket or my pouch all the time, and then I have another one in my kitchen fitting box where all like my U-scribe jigs and stuff like that are. So I've always got one on me and one in the van. Just put this to the side. So that's all the bits in the front most pocket on the right hand side, and then to the side we've got pencils. I usually keep a fine point, it's quite out, a fine point Pica Dry, and just the standard Pika Dry. Sometimes if I'm on a roof or if I'm doing floor joy, something with big timbers, I should have really had it today, but I didn't. I've got the big dry, so I'll swap out the fine point for the big dry for first fix, and vice versa for second fix. And I do have another hidden one in here. This is another mechanical pencil. This is more of like an artist pencil. It's one for drawing. It was quite expensive, quite heavy, nice to use, but it's kind of like in between the fine and the standard dry. So it's, I don't know if you can see, it's slightly smaller, but I don't really use it that often, to be honest. It's quite nice on certain materials. It draws a bit nicer. I think the lead's a little bit softer. We'll leave them in there for now. And then tucked down here, I always have a little 3mm bit. Just, you never know when you're going to have to countersink something or pilot hole a screw, and I found 3mm bit tends to be the best. So I always keep that hidden just in there. It never falls out, it's always there. Right, so the big main pocket, again I'll empty it out. So this pocket tends to be the one where I keep all the nails and strips of nails. Like here, I tend to keep these strips of nails in this pouch. I think that's it. Some more pockets. So yeah, I've got strips of Paslode nails. I always keep them. An old hinge that's left over from last time I was hanging doors. I keep my filling knife or scraper in there, and my small square, adjustable square. They're always the three things I keep in that pocket, as well as a selection. Now these tend to kind of go in whatever pocket suits it, but I always keep a few packers to hand in one of my pouches, because you tend to need one for something all the time. That shouldn't be in there. Yeah, it was small square. This is brilliant when you just need something to set a depth, or if you're doing architraves or whatever, just a small backhoe, 4-inch square, 4-inch, 6-inch. I do have the bigger 12-inch one as well, but this one just stays in my pouch. Scraper, always handy to have in hand. Light, small, fits in, not a problem. Like I say, nails, that's the place they live. And I've got a worn out old Tracer marker pen. Always keep a marker pen on me as well. Now the next pocket up, always have a bit of sandpaper. And I've taken to keeping this filling knife in there as well. This is brilliant for scraping and cleaning bits of glue and all sorts off. And again, it doesn't take up any room or weight or anything. Just to have it in with my sandpaper in that little pocket there. Just here, this pocket right at the top here, really slim pocket. You can't get a lot in, so I've found my phone just lives in there perfectly. If you can see that, phone fits in there perfectly, and if you put the speaker side down, you don't get dust in it either. So that works really well in there. In that one there, look. So that's where my phone tends to live, in my pouches. I'll just put these bits back in. Put them back in there, and we'll move on to the left-hand pouch. So this is on my left-hand hip, and this one's the pockets are slightly bigger, a bit of a different layout to this other one. There's no hammer loop, but we do have the nail bar loop. So again, start at the front. So this front pocket is where I keep my fixings for whatever job I'm doing. Like today I've been doing stud work, so I've had a lot of 100mm screws in there, as well as some 100mm concrete fixings. So all I've got left that's all I've got left on the job actually. So yeah, that's fixings. Always got fixings in there. Just to the side over here, nail punches in there. So I've got a small one for pins, and then I've got this big one. This, I don't even know where I got this. I found this, but I found that it works really well for clipped head nail gun nails. If you need to punch them in for any reason, if you're going to plane the timber down or whatever, this works really well. No idea what it is, but it works. Just back from the nail punch, I've got this Shinwa square bevel, sorry, not a square. This is an awesome bevel to keep on you. It's not perfect for everything, but it's a really elegant, well-made, solid bevel. So if you just need a quick bevel, it's really good. You do have to be careful on some of the construction timber, because it's quite a small footprint here. It can actually be quite hard to set your bevel on the rounded edge. I'll just grab a bit of timber and I'll show you. So I've got a bit of timber here, and because it's so small, it can be quite fiddly to get it set on there. So it's not really the best for first fix. I tend to only use it with second fix. What I use when I'm first fixing is one of my bigger, more traditional kind of bevels that we use in England, and then I'll set my tracer roofing square to that bevel, and then that's obviously got a really positive stop for your construction timber. That's way better than this little bevel, but this is super handy to have in your pouch just because of the size of it. It goes down to the size of a carpenter's pencil, so I could put this in any of these little slots. It just fits in nicely, and again, it's just really handy to have. And again, in the same pocket, I have got 3 spade bits. So commonly used sizes in 16, 20 and 22. Always handy to have if you're doing doors and whatnot. It's always handy to have them in your pouch instead of knocking about on the floor or whatever. And again, if you're doing stud work or something like that and you need to run a wire through, cable through, pipe, whatever you need to do, they tend to be my most commonly used sizes. So I just keep them in my pouch. So I'll just put these bits back and we'll go to the next pocket. So next along, there is a small pocket for my square. This just fits in between the pouches. So it just fits in here in this pocket. Dead easy to get in and out. Doesn't take up any room. Super handy. That just lives in there. And I'll show you from this angle. Just goes in and out. Couldn't be easier. Could not be easier. So in the pocket behind, I keep my Hultifer's chisel. I use this chisel just as a bit of a, I don't know, I abuse it, should we say. It's just a bit of a knocking about chisel for when you need to just chip this off or do that. That tends to be the one that's in my pouch. You can see it's had a bit of abuse, a bit of wear and tear. But the steel is really good quality, and it can actually take a bit of abuse before it loses its edge and whatnot. So that's just on the side of my pouch there, dead handy to get to. And what else is in there? In there I've got my Tajima chalk line. These things are absolutely brilliant. There's a couple of guys I've worked with that since working with them, they've all bought these Tajima chalk lines. And the difference being from, say, a Stanley or what's available in the UK is the thickness of the string itself. It's really fine, but firm, robust string. So it leaves a nice, fine chalk line. Not a big bushy string like you get on some of the Stanley ones and whatnot, or the cheaper ones that you get in the UK. So that's always there because you always need it when you're first fixing and things, and it just tends to live in my pouch. Probably should take it out when I'm not first fixing, but hey, what are you going to do? And then with that, I've also got my Japanese block plane. I didn't used to keep a plane in my pouch, just because of the weight of it. It's a block of metal at the end of the day, and it weighs quite a lot in your pouch. But this is just a block of beech with a small steel, so it weighs next to nothing, and it's really handy to have in your pouch. If you're doing any second fix, any boxing, anything that needs a bit of a plane, any doors, anything like that, it's just there. It's right there to take the edge off anything. And I don't know if anyone's used any Japanese tools, but they are amazing. Really amazing. It's nice and light and gentle to use. So yeah, that now lives in my pouch. That's always by my side. There's that one. I think that's it for that pocket, apart from some sawdust. That's it for that one. We'll chuck these back in here. And then finally, in this pocket is my tape measure. So this is just a Stanley, classic Stanley tape measure. I do have a Stanley Fat Max, which is the bigger, wider, stronger tapes, for when I'm doing things that, you know, maybe spanning quite a distance and I have to have quite a standout on my tape. I use the bigger one just for that. But these classic Stanleys, they're brilliant, really accurate, always accurate, never have anything fail on them. They're just a good, solid, dependable tape. And that just goes in that pocket there, which is really easy to access. It does block off this main pocket here, which is why I don't use it for fixings or things I'm going to need all the time. Like my chalk line, I don't need it all the time, so it goes in there, and you know, I can kind of maneuver my hand in there. But if you're trying to get in and out all the time, that just will get in the way. So I do know people that have taken this off so they can get in and out easy, and used the tape clip on this pouch. There's a tape clip there. I don't use it, but it's each to their own personal preference at the end of the day. But yeah, that's my tool pouches. That's it. So the harness, shoulder pads harness, is a toolbelt gel fit. Quite impressed with it, quite pleased with it. It's really comfortable. Got a chest buckle here. Obviously toolbelt are always trying to sell you their clip-on stuff, which I personally don't like. It's too big and bulky for me. But you've got some of the points here where you can put some of the toolbelt clip things on there. To me, it just seems a bit silly. You don't want a big bulky pouch on your chest, but hey, whatever. Like I say, it's each to their own. And then the belt itself is just a relatively cheap belt. Pretty cheap, padded, foam padded. But I did pinch this belt, this one, off my old belt, which was a DeWalt one, that fell to bits just recently. But it's got the leather strap here, nice big buckle. So I've kind of, all my my suspenders and belt and things, it's all kind of like a Frankenstein setup. It just works for me, you know. I've built it up over the time. I will say one thing, that if money wasn't an option, I would go for the Trust Buddy rig. I'd get a full rig by them, but obviously they're quite expensive, and we can't always afford what we want. So maybe one day I'll go for that. If it wasn't a Trust Buddy, it'd probably be a Diamondback. You know, the very similar kind of setups. But yeah, just quite a lot of money. That's the only reason I haven't got something like that. And like I say, maybe one day, who knows. Well, thank you for watching. That was my tool belt tour. Looking at it, I don't know what you'd call it, whatever. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found something a bit useful. Maybe there's something in there that you don't keep, you haven't thought of, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, goodbye. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more content that's joinery related like this. Don't know, subscribe if you like it. If you want to see more daily content, check out the shorts feeds, and I'll leave a link to my Instagram page where I post daily about whatever. Yeah.